Film Buffering.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Film Buffering. I'm one of your hosts, Colter Harkins. I'm here today with Andrew Johnson, Todd Foley, and a special guest. It's Tony Fox!
Yeah.
Hope that wasn't too loud for everyone. But we're stoked he's here. Welcome to the show, Tony. How you been?
I've been good. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on. I mean, you guys have been doing this for a couple weeks now, so hopefully I add some high quality ideas or
You are ideas, after all.
Thank you. Or opinions to your show.
Throwback.
Oh, that was just an inside joke.
For those of you who don't know, Tony Fox went to college with myself, Andrew, and Alex. He was a theater major along with us. Enough chit chat. Let's talk about this movie.
Let's get to it.
It's time for
In the Earth.
He told me his story. These are his memories. Can you feel him now? In the earth?
No, I don't know what you mean.
I think you do.
So what are you working on?
Searching ways of making crops more efficient.
Funny place to study crops in a forest.
We had to send a rescue party in to get a group out a couple of months ago. They got lost.
Why didn't they use GPRS?
There's no phone reception in there. People get a bit funny in the woods sometimes.
You worried she's going to get you?
Yeah, who is it?
It's a local folktale. She's the spirit of the woods. Wake up. Something's there. Listen. Someone's watching us. I saw something in the woods.
It wants to talk.
What do you want?
Everything seems to just keep us here.
Andrew. What the heck is this about?
Well, In the Earth is about as the world searches for a cure to a disastrous virus. Sounds familiar.
It was COVID related.
A scientist and park scout venture deep in the forest for a routine equipment run. Directed and written by Ben Wheatley, which I'm sure is how he would like us to pronounce it.
You're saying it weird.
Saying what weird?
All of it.
Where do you get off?
And starring Joel Fry, Reese Shearsmith, Haley Squires, and Elora Torchia, and some other British types.
And a couple other folks. But that's pretty much the entire cast. That was kind of surprising to me.
Yeah.
All right. Tony, as our new special guest, what are your initial thoughts on this movie? Kick it off for us.
Initial thoughts of In the Earth. My initial thoughts was like a very high level student film. Was my initial thoughts. Yeah.
I think that's an apt way to put it. Todd, what do you think about this one?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Tony, more thoughts. Keep going.
Oh, no. That I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Oh, Todd, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, man, it was. I had never
heard of it leading up to it. It was not what I expected it to be. It kind of had two halves to it. One was pretty straightforward. The other got a little wacky. And I think Tony put it great. I don't even want to add anything to that.
The best summary we've gotten so far. Andrew, what are your thoughts on this one?
I it had a few things actually going for it, in my opinion. Those being, I thought the acting was actually pretty good. I just think in general, British people are better actors than everyone.
Thank you.
So even though the material itself was kind of like, I don't know, bad, I think that they all did very well with it. And also I kind of enjoyed the style of like the cinematography, just the very like shifty camera, handheld kind of look throughout. I thought it was well done. And in doing like a little bit of research, I saw that they actually shot this within like 2 weeks. So I guess because of what it was, which seemed like something that was written during the pandemic, filmed like as quickly as they could and whatever, and put out basically, it was good for being that. But also like the plot kind of just made it, I wish they went a different direction.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest struggle for me, as well as I really liked the color palette. I liked the way it was shot. Everything was really pretty film overall. I was actually kind of surprised by how good the film looked. And then when they get into like the counterbalance of the red and the yellow and everything else, when they get inside of the tents, and then it just like slowly cranks you up into these crazy psychedelic mushroom trip sequences that were just a little bit too much.
Yeah. I was just like, okay, this definitely makes me never want to take psychedelics of any kind.
Yeah. The last thing I would want is a flashback of what I was watching in this movie. But I think like overall it did feel a little bit thrown together in the sense of the plot and the writing, but they really did a great job of just keeping what they needed to simple to make the movie overall work. Again, could have been a tight 130. But
could have been, dude. This could have been a tight 30. Like you could have turned a lot of fluff off this movie.
I think you guys want to shorten more or less every movie we've watched.
Edit it.
Do better.
There was one editing thing, like in the beginning of the movie. I think was it like when they first set up camp or something? It just went like black. Yeah. And I kind of threw me off. I was like, was that supposed to happen? And it kind of reminded me of like one of Bo Burnham's like bits where he's just like, you know what I hate about editing? And then it just like jumps.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, oh, was that something and then it happened later on in the film too, where they did another kind of like, they just blacked out and then opened up on another scene. So maybe it was like a director's choice, but I thought that was like a weird editing.
Yeah. It seems like they were trying to like get you in the experience, like what's real, what's going on, we're skipping around and all that, but it just didn't quite, it wasn't like interesting enough material, or it wasn't shaped in a way that it really drew you in. So it was just kind of like, stuff like that was just like more obnoxious than anything.
Well, and you guys talked about like, it definitely seemed, because they wrote it, would you say like 2 weeks into the pandemic? Is that what you said?
Well, they filmed it within like a 2-week span, but I'm assuming he wrote it like it just feels like pandemic.
Well, I guess when I said like it was a high level student film, I guess it was just like more along the lines like the budget. It just definitely seemed like budget wise they were just like or if it was filmed in the pandemic, like it was like one of their first projects to where it's like, let's get back out and do something. And that's what they landed on was this project. But I did like the acting though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought with what they had, they did really well with.
Yeah. It's certainly like, considering that they did it during the pandemic and all that, it's cool, but also like to go the route of, I don't know, I feel like you could have gone such a more obvious route with the whole, virus and stuff like that. to then go like this completely weird psychedelic way. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like there's easier things they could have gone for.
Yeah, it definitely transitions into a totally different film in the second act or the second half. I don't feel like this even really had a third act. It's kind of like, 2 half movies, because it's the pandemic sets up or a thing, and then you just totally shift into a different thing. So I don't know. I agree with that choice of like, I can understand the justification of, why are we out in the woods alone? That's why. But that was really all that they did with the whole virus setup. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Was just like to justify people not being around.
Yeah.
And it's and how would this this scientific project continue in lieu of that? And they just never even gave good justification behind that, I don't think.
Yeah, and I think like what they set up to be the scary aspect of the film, they could have like dove in maybe a little bit more to like describe maybe what the scary aspect was, or what's this spirit or entity that's in the forest.
Yeah, I feel like when I was watching it, I'm like, am I missing something completely? And I just don't think the content was actually there. Like, I really think it just kind of wasn't fully fleshed out. Like, the writer was almost going for something like deep and introspective, but it just came off as like, okay. Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Todd, you look like you've got a thought.
I've got an idea forming in my head.
Oh, I have so many thoughts. I thought that the people proved to be like some pretty convincing villains or scary things. Or Zach. I thought that guy was super
awesome.
scary. I thought he was great. I mean, like we said, all the acting was really solid in this thing, but he was pretty terrifying. Even without the monster being scary, that whole sequence with him walking around with the axe and the strobe light was pretty wild. And also just like the entire toe amputation scene, like was genuinely
I love the way that they did that. That was so great,
dude. That was legit. Like I was squirming.
Yeah, that when they actually when they came back and cauterized it, I was like, ugh.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote a note that said this movie should have been called "Bad Things Happening to Martin."
Yeah, Jesus.
Because it was just like the cut. Like when I first saw the cut, Brittany was kind of like, because I was watching this on my computer with headphones, and she like looked over and saw the cut, and she kind of flinched. And then at one point she looked over and he was like putting a hook into somebody, and she flinched, and she just kept looking over like and just being like, like
what are you watching?
His feet. Like Quentin Tarantino would not have enjoyed this movie because it just destroys feet.
Why would you do that to such beautiful feet?
I totally thought that watching them. I'm like, what did poor Martin do to anybody? Just wants to like study shrubbery.
Whew. Talk about a beaut. This is quite a day for nature, that is.
Well, he went out there for like vegetation, but then we later found out that he was writing letters.
Yeah, he just went out there for a booty call.
Yeah, that's what I was like. He went out there maybe for love, and then oh boy, did he get more than that.
What a fun rom-com this was. Like, your ex-husband is here? Whoa.
Oh no, he's trying to murder me.
It just to go back to like the foot amputation scene. I love the way Zach like set that up. He's like, all right, you got two options. We can go to the doctor. And I'm like, yeah, if I was Martin, be like, 100%. And then he's like, what? That's going to take too long. We're going to have to amputate it. And he's like, wait, what? Why did you give me the first option in the first place? And then him missing, I wanted him to miss more on the swing. I wanted that to be a whole gag of like,
I thought it was just the right amount of fake out, because when then he actually did it, it was so unexpected.
Do it 3 times. I was like, is this a gag?
That's one thing. Watching this, I actually like laughed out loud numerous times at stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think maybe because they wanted it to be so serious. Like, I don't think they were going for jokes at all, but like with the toe thing, I was just like, that's great.
He
for
just
it
reminded
to
me
be,
of. Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say he just reminded me of Kirk Hammett so much with that hair, the long curly hair and the goatee.
Oh yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, like, I'd watched this like, I don't know, 5 hours ago or something, and my eyes still actually hurt from watching it. So
just
I don't
all
know.
of the single shots that they popped in, everything flashing.
That and just the constant strobes at the end. It got, like, honestly, I felt it got excessive. Like, I was like, I got it. You know, I get what you're trying to do. It felt like something like it sounds silly, but I'm like, shouldn't they put like a warning or something before stuff like that? Like somebody could have a heart attack watching that thing.
I thought they did. Did they not put a disclaimer?
Oh, did they?
For like, yeah.
Oh.
Like epilepsy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that whole end, like I said, I was in like a dark room with my headphones on, like, and while the flashes, it was like lighting up the whole room, and it was so disorienting, like especially with all the sounds and stuff. I went to this concert one time, and like the lead singer came out on the stage, and he had this water filled bass drum, and he was like pounding on it, and it was like blowing water all over everyone, and like fog machines going off in our faces, and like lights flashing, and that's kind of how I felt at the end. It was just like this overwhelming of all my senses. It was just like, oh my god, like where am I? Like,
yes,
yeah.
I was trying to figure out,
crazy.
Like, who enjoys that aspect of like psychedelics? Like, there's gotta be like you get like a 50-50 chance of maybe it's gonna be fun or maybe you're gonna be terrified for the rest of your life.
Yeah. There's never been a strobe light scenario where I was like, this is the best night of my life. It's always been like, please turn it off. You're ruining the night.
I think I would have been into it if the plot was more fleshed out, if I knew like what was the point of all that, because you know you go through all that like watching it, and then it gets to the end and they're just like, all right, let's get out of here, and I was just there like with my eyes burning, like, oh, that was great, I'm glad we had that experience for nothing, for no payout like at all.
Well, from what I got from it, and you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, but like, so they had this major virus that they just went through. Nobody really explains what the virus was. And they were going up to the woods to, I guess, find something, or like the nature was actually communicating back through like light and sound with this doctor. And was it like she was either trying to find like a cure for the virus, or maybe just like I guess they just started communicating with like the force and nature. And what I got from it kind of was that nature was, didn't she say something about like nature is kind of defending itself like a human would, with like shelter, food, and like if humans are now going back to nature because they just had this virus, like nature doesn't want us. Nature is killing us off. And that spirit or whatever was in the forest was using the two doctors, or Zach and what was her name? The doctor?
Olivia.
Wendell.
Kind of as tools, because there's that one scene where he goes into that one room where she's like, no, it's quarantine. And you saw like all those pictures of people of probably past where they brought them up here. And I think they've killed them all, or even like the family that was there, or they had that like empty campsite that that was murdered as well.
Yeah, it felt like they just kind of got caught between doing the happening where it's like nature trying to take care of itself.
Yeah.
And like an actual like deep people getting sucked in by an occult like being. So it just kind of like got somewhere in between where they're still trying to commune with this force of nature, this occult being, but then they they just didn't fully sell themselves all the way into it. I think it was another one of those where like, we're trying to show that they're not working together, but obviously they are working together. So it just kind of didn't pay off as much as it could have if they just cut to it earlier. We could have cut those scenes down of her working through the stuff, and then all of a sudden she's immediately working with the guy, and they're messing him up.
I was just frustrated because like it was kind of convoluted enough that I literally, as I was watching it, I was like, what's the metaphor here? Like clearly this must be a metaphor for something, but I just, in the end, like it didn't, not that I'm saying like they should beat you over the head with it, but I just was like,
what does it mean?
It didn't go strongly enough in any direction that it like made a statement or anything, in my opinion. Yeah.
I mean, what it kind of reminded me too was Midsummer, with like the psychedelics and stuff like that, which I was kind of hoping to maybe see a little bit of like the psychedelics taking over a little bit, because Zach was giving them something. Especially Martin. That dude was taking pills and getting his toes chopped off. And what they were doing, like when he would put them under the tarp, like, was that just like days on end? How many days were they like under the tarp, out of the tarp? Like that would mess with anybody's head. Surprising that they were able to like not lose it earlier on in the film, because I mean, knowing me, if I got my toes chopped off and then was put under a tarp and constantly given drugs, like my threshold would be to its limit for sure.
Yeah, when he got his toes chopped off, he was just kind of like, seemed like he was just kind of bummed. He's like, no, man. Don't do that. And then he did it, and he was just like, oh, why did you do that?
He did it.
Yeah.
Yep. It felt like, a lot of like I don't know, the like Trent Reznor, like Nine Inch Nails music video kind of like imagery in the stuff that they use with the worms and the gashed wounds and things like that. It's pretty gnarly. It's about time for some final thoughts. Todd, let's start with you. Final thoughts on this movie.
Yeah, I don't completely hate it because it was really well shot. The acting was good. It was genuinely scary in parts, which was cool, and it had some interesting ideas. Yeah, really kind of went strange directions, but overall it was cool. Albeit the terrible execution. So I'm going to give it 4 thumbs out of 10.
All right. Tony, final thoughts. How many thumbs out of 10 are you giving this movie?
I didn't really find it to be scary, or there was some like I wish they would have like chosen a path on either it was the people that had maybe like that were the scary part, or the spirit. I wish they would have chosen an avenue. What they were trying to get a part of that was the horrifying thing. But I did like some of the sequences, and I thought the actors did well with what they had to work with. And I thought, I mean, the script was okay. I thought it failed at parts, and I thought that there were some plot points that I was like, why aren't these actors or characters in the movie asking more questions? But I thought it was executed with what they had, and I think the budget that they had and maybe the time frame that they had to do it in was again a high level student film. So I would say, like, what do you guys do? Thumbs up out of 10 thumbs?
Yeah.
I would give it one more than Todd. I'd go 5. 5 thumbs.
Andrew, final thoughts.
I think like we're all kind of saying, like, for what it was and when it was made, it really, like, you could say, like, this is like a triumph. It's awesome in a lot of ways. I think that unfortunately he was trying to have it be like set up as something where you're kind of questioning everything, and everything's like a metaphor for something, yada yada. But I think it was so poorly executed, and there wasn't enough information given, that it kind of just fell really flat. I I don't know. It was watchable. It was beautiful. And actually the soundtrack, I was a big fan of the music in this one, but it just didn't really go anywhere. So I'll give it 5 thumbs.
All right. I will say I think it was beautifully shot. I think it was actually really well choreographed. I was going to say something that we were just talking a little bit about his other movie, Free Fire. He knows how to do action really well, and the blood and gore and that kind of stuff. So I think he really utilized that element of his skill set, the director, to make some really cool sequences with the shrubs and everything in the woods. I agree that I guess in some ways, maybe if he was just trying to push your limits with the length and with the repetition of the shrubs and everything else going on, then that worked if that's what he was trying to do. But overall, I think I'm going to aim high because I did really appreciate some of the elements of it. So I'm going to give it a 6 thumbs out of 10. But a terrible, terrible plot. All right. We're going to wrap up our horror month with a real chiller for you next week. It is Muppets Haunted Mansion.
Welcome to the home of fear and fright, where not all guests survive the night. The lucky souls will live to tell, and those who don't will rot in.
What's the matter with you? You can't say that. This is a family show. What are you doing?
Welcome, foolish Muppets, to tonight's very special Halloween challenge.
We just have to survive the night in this haunted mansion.
Everything here will seem familiar, but your eyes may deceive you.
Whoa.
I'm mysterious, Madame Pagoda.
Wait, stop.
Can you turn it down? I can't hear myself think.
Take 5, everybody.
Where are you going? No.
Happy Halloween. This place is really haunted.
Fiends, omens, and bogeymen, lend me your fear.
It's showtime.
Usually I'm worried about dying up here, but looks like you beat me to it. Don't you have anything better to do than boo me?
Tough room. Ooh, indoor lightning.
I'm not a shrimp.
Close enough.
Shaka waka!
If by sunrise you fail this endeavor, then you must remain here forever.
I'm out of here. How did you... I could just eat you alive.
Oh, that's sweet, right?
Muppets Haunted Mansion, streaming exclusively on Disney+.
All right, thanks you guys so much for joining us. I think I just knocked my headphones out. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We appreciate you being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time. Film Buff.